Why?
Why? Why not? All right, that's enough laughter. Go for it.
Welcome to the Ranger wrap-up. Mike's not on.
My mic's on. Your mic's not
my
on?
mic's on. Hey, what are you doing,
mine sounds
man?
fuzzy. Look.
Huh?
It's on. I hear you.
I can hear you. Let me see.
I can't hear me.
What, you can't hear yourself?
Maybe your shit.
I can't hear any of you.
How about now?
No.
Now?
No.
What are you talking about, man?
I'm serious.
Are
we
we
on?
live though?
Yeah, we're live. I can hear you.
I can't. All
They
right,
watching
wait,
us
hold
fuck
on.
up right now?
Maybe it's the mic.
Anyway, welcome to the Ranger wrap-up. If you guys can hear me, that's fine. I don't need to hear myself. We are here to talk about a lot of things today. Obviously, Power Rangers and the future of Power Rangers is going to be what we're discussing long form. I am Joe, joined by
C. Gibson Rex. Corey Gibson.
Daniel Droom 2.0.
I'm not.
Daniel
Better
Jerome.
Star Galactica. This is what we're going with.
No,
Better Star Galactica.
Better Star
Better Star.
How you doing, Corey?
I'm cool. I'm a little sad about this news though.
Because we had a little discussion about it. I mean, look, it's confirmed. We'll see what happens. What about you? How you doing, Jezzer? Talk to me about your trip here.
My trip here sucks. So if any of you guys are a Prius driver, there's a special place in hell for y'all.
I don't. Did you ever figure out what's going on with these?
Huh? Let me see. You figure. Keep talking.
So, yes, we're here to talk about Power Rangers. Thank you guys so much for joining us live in the chat. We are here in the beautiful city of Manhattan Beach at the Comic Bug. The Comic Bug, come to the Comic Bug for all your comic needs. Also,
come next Sunday
for Retro Ranger Wrap-Up Live.
Yeah.
That's next Sunday.
Here, next Sunday.
Who do we have coming in on Sunday?
Christopher Kamen Lee will be here and Roger Valesco.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So we are going to be doing a Q&A with them. But if you're here live, we're going to be doing a live watch-along with them. So they're going to be discussing the show, what went down during the time it went down.
I like hearing the stories that Roger and Chris have to get separate, because they said that before they met each other, they didn't really like each other. And I think that's because they both have the same type of personality.
So. Yeah, I know. It's interesting, because remember when Daniel said when he first met you, he didn't like you?
Yeah.
But you guys don't have the same personality. Obviously.
I know, we don't. He just, he judges first before, making... He just like, I don't like that guy.
It's going to be interesting to see what they have to say. But if you're here live, they are going to be here watching the show along with us as they are giving their comments on the show. What a watch along is. So we're going to be doing that. Also, if you're here, the Retro Range Wrap-Up is going to return. And that's when we're going to get into the Q&A for episode 1 and 2 of Power Rangers in Space, which is arguably one of the best Power Ranger seasons ever. Now, isn't it ironic that usually when the show is going to get canceled, we get one of the best seasons ever with Power Rangers in Space, Power Rangers RPM,
yep,
and Power Rangers Beast Morphers. So can you turn me down just a little bit?
Okay.
Let's talk about this. By the way, thank you guys for joining us. You can turn me up just a little bit more. Thank you guys for joining us live here on Saturday. We know that you can say your line, your whole spiel.
Oh, okay. We're going to do my whole spiel. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on your Saturday. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. And so, Corey, this is the part where the other black guy says, we appreciate that. So it's either Daniel or Johnny. So you got to say, we appreciate that.
We appreciate that.
Come on, you got to give a little enthusiasm.
We appreciate that.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Jesus.
So listen, first of all, we are not misleading you with the title of our show. There's a reason why question marks are there, because we're going to be exploring everything that's been going on with the franchise, and we have some insight into some of the insider things that we talk about. There's other Power Ranger outlets that I'm not gonna name because we've been working very closely on the story together, but we've been doing a lot of deep dives into what's been going on with Power Rangers. Now, in the chat though, we have Sam's joining us. We got Flash, Thea Games, Thomas Franco, Nathan, David, Edward Sanchez, Layla. Thank you guys for joining us. We want to shout out where you guys are from. You can let us know where you're from. We got somebody from Pulaski, Tennessee. Awesome. Thank you for joining us from Tennessee. I already know that Layla's from Arkansas. We got Edward from Texas. David right here in California.
David. I miss David.
Yeah, he's awesome. So thank you guys. All right, let's get into this. Now,
Yeah.
I want to talk about what led us to this conversation, some of the news that happened earlier this week. and get your comments on that on the short term. Now, the first thing that really sparked this conversation off, well, this happened a while ago, but we'll go through a timeline of events. But Melissa Flores is no longer with the franchise.
Yes.
Corey, what is that? What was your immediate takeaway when you heard that news?
The fuck's going on?
Now, Melissa Flores was huge into the story department of Power Rangers. I was going to say Star Wars. Into Power Rangers. But currently, she is no longer with the brand. When you got that information, when you knew that information was happening, did that raise a red flag at all? Or did you think it was just a career move?
Yeah, I thought she was leaving. I didn't think about her being let go. I thought she was leaving. I was like, maybe she got a better job somewhere else or whatnot. So I wasn't really thinking like they were restructuring or anything like that.
Now, Jezer, you're a little less connected to the inside baseball of what's going on with the actual franchise, and you took it from a very realistic point of view of, well, she's probably just moving on to something she wants to do more, right?
Yeah, I mean, it happened end of Power Morphicon with
Jason,
but he was he let go? He was let go. So who else did we had? We had Greg Elliott from Bandai who left.
We also have Brian Castantini.
Yep, he left as well. The way that I read it, it felt like she was moving on, like she wasn't happy, being stagnant in with Power Rangers.
That could be completely the case, but with all this turnover with the old regime of Power Rangers, and those a lot of people we would both just named were really pushing the brand forward at Saban. And now that it's at Hasbro, which was looked at as a very shiny star, it might not be the case anymore.
Okay.
We're also going to do call-ins tonight, right, Jesse?
Yep, call-ins.
Because this is going to be the opportunity for you guys to call in. By the way, I want to give a shout-out to John Gatewood. He sent in an article. We're also looking for writers. John Gatewood, your article was great. You're going to be in a new addition to our writing team.
Ooh, that's a way to let them know, huh?
Yeah, let them know live. You're going to be a new addition to the team. Tatiana will be giving you information on the login, but great work on your write-up about Melissa Flores. We're going to go deeper into this. We're going to hit the inside baseball of this. So the Power Ranger franchise with Hasbro, a lot of fans looked at it as a brand new hope for the franchise. Now, before we get into the Hasbro era, I want to know your guys' opinion on the Saban era and how it left. Did you think that Saban was moving the franchise forward?
Oh, which Saban era?
The current, the second Saban era.
Yeah.
Do you think it was moving the franchise forward, or do you think that it was stifling the franchise?
It was stagnant. Like since Saban got it back, it was like they were trying to make everything Mighty Morphin with bringing back his Morphin time, having your Bulk and Skull characters, even bringing Bulk back for Samurai, and it was like they're like Mighty Morphin was a lightning in a bottle, and it was like they're trying to recapture that magic again, and it wasn't really working.
Jazzer, how about you? What were your feelings on the Saban era towards the end there? Do you think it was helping or hurting the franchise?
I thought it was pandering. I mean, towards the end of the Disney run with the series, we were getting deeper stories and more character development on some of these characters that we didn't, especially with new team. 22 episodes or so isn't enough time to really get the vibe.
The whole 2 season. I still don't understand why they break it up into 2 seasons.
Yeah. So I thought Neo Saban was pretty pandering as far as like what they thought that kids could absorb and what types of things they enjoyed. Because when I was a kid, I loved all the animated series, Spider-Man, Batman animated series, X-Men, and it never felt like, oh, it's a kid's show. If you watch it now, it's like, oh my God, this could be turned into a movie and actually do really well. So I just thought it was really pandering, and I think that despite Hasbro, they seem to be making a lot of changes. Yes, they might cancel the show, but I think maybe cancel the format of how the show is, like cancel how they're doing it and maybe revamp it. What would you guys think of?
Wait, real quick, table that thought for 1 second.
I need to write it down somewhere.
So, no, this is a great comment that kind of plays into the question I just asked. And Toku Chris has a great comment.
Toku Chris.
Show-wise, it was stifling. Everything else pushing forward was strange. Like, they were cheapening the brand by turning off the audience towards the show. I agree with that. So, if you look at it, the seasons we got, Ninja Steel, Dino Thunder, sorry, not Dino Thunder, Dino Charge. People loved the first season, didn't like the second season, but besides that, it wasn't great. Like, the show wasn't great, right? But everything they were doing outside of it, Hyperforce, the comic, was really taking off.
Yeah.
We had a lot of that stuff going on. Sorry, I just wanted to bring that up real quick. Go ahead, Jezzer. I know you had a thought.
Let me get your guys' feeling on this. So, a lot of young kids or teenagers or even young adults, they're very open to watching a lot of like Korean dramas and Japanese dramas and stuff like that. Even animes, like they love the subbed animes. Right. What would you guys think if instead of just adapting the series, they just dub or sub the shows and release it on American TV?
That's what I used to think about back in the day when they dropped that back in Dino Thunder when they did that episode with Alba Ranger.
Okay.
And I was like, why don't they just make dub Power Rangers and put it out?
But Lost in Translation?
Yeah,
that episode?
Yeah. And I don't. It's just that the Super Sentai is too Japanese. Like there are jokes and stuff in there that don't necessarily translate into English. Like I was watching Kamen Rider 01 the other day, and he was saying a lot of jokes where the Japanese words were like puns off another word, and that was kind of like his comedic stitch or whatever that word. And I was like, how would you translate that into English if you was to translate it, you know? So it will be a lot of those lame ass translations where they have to put this ridiculous American joke in it.
Okay, all right.
Just to fill in the mouth flap, you know.
But I mean, there's a lot of things that kids are getting exposed to that are so out there that they just kind of adapt and accept. There's a lot of like really, really weird kid shows that kids just accept and enjoy. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that idea. I know that. So this is not Power Rangers, but I know that Hasbro is looking at, or Hasbro, not Hasbro, but like AllSpark is looking at making 2 new Transformer.
They are making 2 new Transformers.
2 new
fucking Beast Wars.
Beast Wars, right? So a lot of their focus is on that, and they have that Snake Eyes series. Maybe
not series. That's a movie.
A movie. Maybe they're looking at putting all their focus and stuff in that before they start revamping this series.
I don't understand. If you have a team on Power Rangers, what does that have to do with Transformers?
All right, now this is going to actually bring us into this topic of what we're talking about today, and I think we're going to shed a little bit more light on all the things that are happening at Hasbro that you may not know about. And this is exactly why you tune into this show, because we are going to talk about some of the things that you guys may not know about. So first and foremost, you obviously know that we are in the Hasbro era, and they are thriving with their toy line in terms of giving fans what they want. Toy sales, though, aren't quite there. Nope. And they haven't been in a while. Something that Toku Chris is a big fan of the figures. He follows the toy series. It's a fair fact to say that the toy sales haven't been what they were for the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. They've taken a dive. The show has also taken a dive. Beast Morphers was a huge risk. It was the end of the Saban era. Realistically, I know that was the transition season. But Jason Bischoff put out a tweet earlier on Monday with his displeasure of the franchise. Now, the tweet, have you guys seen the tweet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm going to have to find it first, though, for a second. But I am going to read it to you guys. Okay. Jason Bischoff said this in a tweet. And since the tweet has been deleted, said, still deeply disappointed in this week's developments. In a way, I'm glad Power Rangers Beast Morphers will kind of be a swan song for our team. The why will be clearer in time. Someday, let's talk about what could have been.
Where's Bischoff located at?
He's here in L.A.
You think we can get him on the show?
Probably. Yeah. And we shall. So here's the thing. Now, that tweet was very leading, and it got deleted, obviously, with his displeasure of the stuff that's going on. Now, let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on. Melissa Flores, no longer at Hasbro. Jason Bischoff, no longer at Hasbro. Who else? Brian Constantini, no longer at Hasbro. A lot of top people from the Power Ranger franchise. Now we're getting the information that was released on that panel that Chip Lynn.
Yeah, Chip Lynn. Supposedly Chip Lynn.
Supposedly Chip Lynn. Austin St. John said this on a panel that it was kind of like he's kind of phasing out too. So who knows? And we know that that there was going to be some kind of transitional things like this happening, but we weren't exposed why. Look, after Hasbro bought Power Rangers for the incredible price that they did, they went out and bought Peppa Pig. That cost them $4 billion.
But you said they bought that for distribution.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about what it is, right? But how can they justify that spending? So you gotta have layoffs. Mm-hmm. Just recently, somebody and I have been putting together a timeline, and a story. I'm going to drop a story about it tomorrow. But we're putting together a pretty solid timeline of events of what's happening. Now, we're not confirming that Power Rangers is canceled, but I will say this: I've heard the franchise is not in good shape, and I heard that from an insider. Matter of fact, I've heard it from like 3 different people. But let's really take this for what it is too, because the first person to really shed some light on this a little bit was Michael from Power Rangers Now. He kind of saw what was happening with the franchise, and a lot of people gave him a lot of crap for it. But look,
people were giving him crap even before he left.
But just in that alone, he kind of knew where the brand was headed.
Yeah.
And it's no secret, if you're a Power Rangers fan right now, you should be a little nervous. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say...
He got lucky, too. He jumped on the Disney train.
He did. I mean, he was there before.
Yeah.
He was there before. But a lot of people just assumed that, like, what did he mean in that cryptic post that he made about he's not happy where the brand's going. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I didn't say that exactly. If you want to go find that, you can go check out Power Rangers Now. But it was more of a cryptic tweet. Now, nothing's concrete, and I'm not confirming anything, and I had confirmed things in the past. So I'm just telling everybody that nothing is concrete as of now. But
that's the question mark and exclamation point.
Correct. We're not saying the show's canceled, but I am going to work on the story a little bit further and get more information for you guys. Now, here is information for you guys that you may not know. The brand isn't in the best of shape. Melissa left Allspark to work for Hasbro proper as a story coordinator. That title is always kind of like a target for termination at points. There's been a lot going on with the franchise, a lot of the toy franchises as well. Most of the boys brands are now moving back to Rhode Island, or is it Rhode Island? I think it's Rhode Island, right? Yeah, they're moving back to Rhode Island. They're not. A lot of the jobs here in California got axed or moved over. So that's cause for concern, obviously. When you start losing people in your company, that causes a lot of panic. Now, here's what's going on, at least in the toy division of Power Rangers, is that toy division is being overseen by somebody that also has to manage a lot of other brands. I feel like now Power Rangers has gotten lost in the shuffle. Now, one thing that kind of makes the most sense here to see the show possibly could be getting canceled is I've heard personally that there's issues between Hasbro and Nickelodeon. And this is something that's been ongoing. And I don't remember which one of you guys were with me. We got this explained to us by somebody deep inside of the company that said, I think it was you, Jezzer.
Was it the Hasbro breakfast?
This was, I'm not going to say, but it was somebody that told us this. It'll ring a bell when I say it.
Okay.
Is that Power Rangers actually on Nickelodeon never gets support from Nickelodeon. That because most of the Nickelodeon properties get supported because they're Nickelodeon productions, whereas Power Rangers isn't a Nickelodeon production, so it doesn't get the same kind of love that other shows would. That's a part of the problem, but even more concerning part of that problem is the layoffs, because the brand is in flux right now, and we're not necessarily sure what's going to happen with it. Corey,
they're going to get the Schneider's Bakery touch.
What's that mean?
All the successful Nickelodeon shows are produced by Dan Schneider. They're all going to get the Schneider Bakery production thing.
And there's a lot more into this and also if you're Hasbro, you got to think about one thing. If people aren't watching your show, because look, this is the lowest rated season in Power Ranger history, and if people aren't buying your toys, the toy sales are at an all-time low for the last 10 years, then why would you continue on with the show and spend money?
Yeah.
Oh, nice shirt.
So if anybody can justify that for me, if we're talking straight business dollars and cents here, I'd love to hear it.
All right, look at it this way. Like, I know you like Beast Morphers, but I
Hate it.
I don't hate it. The writing is not great and is inexcusable. It really is.
Compared to last season?
Compared to what was last season?
Ninja Storm.
Ninja
Steel.
Ninja Steel.
Steel.
I don't like Ninja Steel. I only watch Ninja Steel
How
for
about Dino Charge?
Christy. Dino Charge was tolerable, but Dino Supercharge was just like Dino Charge was better.
Yeah.
It seemed like Samurai. I thought people hate Samurai. I love Samurai, even though
Samurai was a direct adaptation.
yeah, but it was still
Shinkenger.
it was still pretty good. But
Yeah.
then after Samurai, it seemed like it was just dipping in story.
So maybe with Samurai, you like the story. Maybe they should just, because it was a straight adaptation of the Japanese series. Maybe they should just start following that. I mean,
it will make sense because that's basically what Power Rangers is.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and then a lot of the people consider good seasons. Those are the ones that were pretty much translated from the Japanese, like Time Force.
Space.
Yes, thank you.
Space was different.
Can you open
Space
this?
was
Yeah.
and Space was different. Lost Galaxy was
yeah, it's
different.
toast off. Let's go.
RPM was different, I think.
Yeah, RPM was nothing like Go On.
Yeah. So RPM was different. I think when you give freedom to the creators, like where they're not hindered by the points that they have to hit for the studios or for the company, I think that's when the show is more liked by the fans. But I think that's not enough. I think that being liked by the fans is not enough.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, the only thing that matters is toy sales.
It's
That's
the
it.
green.
Yeah,
gotta
that's
make the
all
money.
that matters. So I've seen a lot of people on the our Facebook group saying, "Oh, they can't cancel. They can't cancel.
Absolutely can.
They can
absolutely
do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want."
Actually, I'm not the only one that feels like this. Somebody that's big in the community is going to call in, Toku Chris, and we are going to discuss this because we've both been tracking the situation. He's more so on the toy front of this. I'm more so on the production side of this.
Fury?
Are you Dragon Fury? And I'm pretty sure it's Toku Chris. You can ask him. I'll give you my phone.
Okay.
So I want him to shed a little bit of light on this because he has a lot of information that we both are very close to people in the franchise. So we're not, again, I want to not panic everybody and say the show's getting canceled, but it's a 1,000% a definite possibility that at this point now. Look, right now I know that we announced a new executive producer, and I also know that we broke the story. He's Toku Chris. We also broke the story that Ryu Soldier was going to be the next season. Now, everything was leading up to that, and Ryu Soldier was going to be the next season. But that could be getting completely tabled. That could be getting put on the back burner.
But
look, if you're going to restart the franchise, you're going to put the money into it. And honestly, if your toys aren't selling and nobody's watching your show, I would put all my chips into the 2021 movie.
It seems weird that these past few weeks that we've been getting all this news, and then all of a sudden it's just like, nope. It's like super weird. So
I think they're banking on this crossover episode. This is their holy grail right now.
Here's the problem with that, and this is where I think Hasbro and Saban had the same problem, is that, look, Power Rangers is not the MCU.
No.
You don't have to be as secretive about things. I think with more exposure, more hype is going to get more views. Power Rangers is something very different than a spoiler with Marvel or even DC for that matter.
Yeah.
Or even, even the Crisis event that happened
with
for
Ezra
CW.
Miller showing up.
I was like, what the?
Like, honestly, that was not only was that a huge deal though, but they kept it under wraps enough to make you surprised, and that's fine. But
Another thing
Power
that
Rangers
kept under
isn't
wraps.
that.
Another thing that kept under wraps yesterday was frickin' Han coming back. Fuck, didn't see that coming at all.
Han.
For Fast and Furious.
Solo,
I don't follow
Han Solo.
No, Han, man. Just
His name is Han Solo.
No,
and
it's Han Sol, like Korea.
Yeah.
Solo.
I know. That's what I'm just saying. Anyway, what do you guys think, though? Do you think, honestly, Corey, do you think the show is going to be airing this time next year? Well, maybe not this time next year, but like when the show's supposed to air.
It's hard to say. It really depends.
He says no.
It really depends on. I mean, once February 2nd comes around, and if season 2 Beast Morphers still is lame like it was first season, then yeah, they're gonna cut this shit off.
I'm gonna call Chris right now.
Okay, so we're gonna call Toku Chris up and get him live on the line if he's ready. There we go. Hopefully he's ready to go. And hopefully that's
really
not too
loud.
loud.
Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, we will.
1 second.
So you think that's a TBD for you? That's a maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Chris, can you hear us?
We'll give it a second. Jezzer, do you think?
Hey, what's going on?
There he is. There's
Where's it
Toku
coming
Chris.
from here?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, it's a day, man. It's a day.
That's right. It's a good day. Now, you and I have been both tracking this story for a while now. I mean, and we've been very close with sharing Power Rangers information with each other. I hope I didn't just blow up the spot like that. But no, we are very close with Power Ranger information, and like you and I have both been tracking the story on different fronts. Talk to me about the timeline.
You're cutting out a little bit on me, so forgive me if I'm a little slow at answering.
It's all good.
As I piece together what's going on.
All good. So, talk to me a little bit about the timeline and how you are viewing things right now from everything that's been happening on your end.
It should be no surprise. You and I have talked for a couple of years now, actually. Right. But as far as the timeline of things, you and I have been chatting for the last few months, I think. Probably October, I think, is when we really started getting into it. Just about the brand didn't quite seem where it needed to be, so to speak.
Yeah.
And getting information from people in the industry that either used to work on the brand or had connections, like really good connections with the brand, it was just never positive. It was never, hey, things are going great. It was kind of like, ooh, yeah, it's not going so hot. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
And that's kind of been the tone since October. And then in the last 3 weeks, it's just kind of blown up huge in a bad way.
Yeah. So let's talk about this Melissa Flores thing and how important she was to the brand. You might know a little bit more than I about her position in the brand. So chat me up about Melissa Flores and what she was doing for Hasbro and Power Rangers in general.
Well, I mean, Melissa was huge. I mean, there's no denying that. There's no escaping that. She may not have been as public facing as Jason was, and Jason was very public facing. Jason was very important for the brand too. But I mean, as the cast and crew from Hyperforce has stated, there was no Hyperforce without Melissa. Melissa helped get the Shattered Grid trailer that Kyle Higgins did. She helped get that off the ground and with the official Saban brand stamp of approval on it. She's been working exclusively with the comics and getting all the stuff in the comics, giving Boom Studios the thumbs up or the thumbs down on things. And I think it was Daphna, the editor, who even came out after Melissa announced that she was no longer with the brand, came out and said, hey, thanks for giving me the universe when I asked for the moon. Right. So I mean, that should give you an idea of just how important she was on getting the stuff that fans seem to love the most out into the open, so to speak.
It's so funny. I was just going to ask you to do exactly what you're doing. You and I think alike, Jezzer.
What?
I was going to ask you to do exactly what I was going to.
He's
going
to
to
say right now.
So here's the thing, and you just talked about the comic, and Boom Studios comic, the Power Ranger comic has been phenomenal. Does her leaving, is that going to affect the comic directly? What's that?
It depends on. I was going to say it depends on who is calling the shots now on the story side of it from Hasbro. Mm-hmm. The hierarchy of that's never really been fully explained. Saban's brand had a team of 4 or 5 people. You can see it in the credits or what have you of the comic books back when they were with Saban still. Brian Canzantini, Melissa Flores, Jason Bishop. Well, hey, guess what? All 3 of those people are gone now, and we don't know who filled the spots or if the spots are even filled. So I'm not even sure who the executive president or senior vice president or whoever Simon something is the president, or I don't even remember his name because he's not a public figure at all.
Is that Simon Bennett?
He's in charge of
Oh, we're not talking Simon Bennett.
No, that's the executive producer.
Sure,
There's another guy. No, we're talking Allspark side.
Gotcha.
Because Allspark dealt with the comic book stuff as far as I understand. So I don't know. I don't know. Now you have to look and go, oh yeah, remember Go-Go Power Rangers is canceled at issue 32, which I just found out last week too. So I mean, all these different things keep stacking up, which is, is it happen chance? Maybe. but maybe not.
Right. I mean, it is a very fascinating time to be tracking Power Rangers because, look, without a, we're in a time right now where we should be getting prepared for a new cast announcement. But now I feel like we're in a time of getting prepared to maybe not get a new season at all.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest thing to watch would probably be, because we do have like Simon Bennett is active on, Instagram and sometimes on Twitter. I mean, you can definitely watch him. Obviously, follow him and see what's going on and see what he posts, if he posts anything, just to kind of get a clue as to if whether work is continuing or not. You remember they moved out of their office, so they moved half the team out of the office down in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's another little news story. Again, all these things keep building up and building up and building up. Watching a couple of the writers are on social, maybe watch the writers and see what they have going on. Because, I mean, if a season's going to happen and they're going to work on the season, eventually they'll trickle out that they're working on something.
Right.
But if you don't get anything like that, who knows? And then Toy Fair is later this month and 3 weeks, actually, 3 weeks from today. So that'll be a huge indicator of what the future of the brand looks like, because if you're just getting more Lightning Collection and Beast Morpher Season 2 toys and everyone claps and that's it, that's not a good indication. That's not a sign of growth.
And I feel that before we even get to Toy Fair, we should get an announcement of a new season to start seeing some of that stuff. Is that am I correct in thinking that, or is that something that I just would imagine in my head?
I'm not entirely sure, only because
new regime.
Because Beast Morphers was announced at Toy Fair, what was it, 2 years ago?
Right.
And that felt more like it was Hasbro being like, hey, we took over Power Rangers and here's the right hook to go with the left hook, and here's the new season that we're going to do in 2 years. That's the first time I think they've actually... Oh, that's not true. Well, it is, because they did announce, I guess Saban announced the name of Dino Supercharge at a Toy Fair, or at the same time as Toy Fair.
Right.
But normally Hasbro announces their next seasons for stuff, when they're toys or for shows. Usually that's done, ironically, at like New York Toy Fair. Like, I think the Transformers, they always showcase the first of the new series of toys that are coming out, the next name of series of toys at Toy Fair, or not Toy Fair, sorry, New York Comic Con. So for Power Rangers to announce a full year in advance what the season's going to be after the one that hasn't even really started yet for this one, I don't know. In all honesty, this is not Power Rangers' year to shine at Toy Fair. You have G.I. Joe's coming back this year. Ghostbusters is coming out for Hasbro. Transformers, Star Wars, and Marvel continue to be the breadwinners. I think Power Rangers is going to take a very big back seat this year at Toy Fair compared to last year, where they were driving the car, so to speak.
Now, one thing that I want to talk to you about that a lot of people might not realize has a big effect on Hasbro as a company, but also Power Rangers, is Peppa Pig. I know that's the weirdest sentence. I never imagined in my life I would say that, but here we are. Talk to me about how Peppa Pig really affected the wheels that were in motion at Hasbro and the franchise as a whole.
Well, sure. So the one argument people always say, and it kind of gets under my skin a little bit, is they go, hey, if Hasbro didn't want Power Rangers, they wouldn't have spent $500 million on it.
Yep.
Okay. Fair point. But then they turned around and spent 8 times that amount for what was the headliner of being Peppa Pig. Yes, they had Death Row Records on there. Yes, they had E1 distribution, whatever. I get that. That's part of it too. But the only thing the news outlets picked up on was Peppa Pig.
Right.
Nice. And I guess TJ Maxx, right, which are two of the biggest preschool, toy sellers and entertainment things out there. Well, when you spend $4 billion on something, you got to trim the fat a little bit, if you know what I mean.
I mean, mind you, that's also the same amount that Disney spent on Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the whole Spider-Man thing where they bought all these Marvel characters and they spent so much more on just Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
scary. It's really scary that, and that should make everyone stop and kind of realize just how much Power Rangers, because I love Power Ranger fans, but man, we all live in this bubble, right?
Yep.
We have this bubble issue where we sit there and we fail to see that the brand that we love is not as big and is not as popular as we think it is.
That's exactly
and
right.
It's tunnel vision.
The dollars and cents between these two deals should really open your eyes and be like, hey, a freaking cartoon pig is worth more 8 times more than the entire, at the time, 25-year history of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And people hate this analogy, but it's out there and it exists, right? So yes, Hasbro could spend $500 million to buy Power Rangers and do nothing with it, because you have to remember there was, during Samurai, Super Mega Force, and Dino Charge, Power Rangers was a top 5 boys' toys action figure brand.
Right.
Like they were top 5. Now, $500 million to make them go away and not compete against themselves.
I mean, that's a
hey, in 5-6 years, you've made all that money back.
I mean, that's a great point that I hadn't even thought of.
And plain and simple too, toys isn't as big as it was back in '93. Like, video games are a huge thing. Like mobile apps, there's so many things that physical toys compete with now that they didn't have to compete with back in the early '90s or late 2000s.
Yeah, everything's like real digital now. So this is like our
exactly.
toys
And
stay
another
the
thing to remember too. So when Saban Brands had Power Rangers, right? Saban Brands is actually, Haim Saban, you have to give the guy credit. He's a genius.
Yeah.
That entire company, the entire reason it existed was to basically buy up IPs, intellectual properties, and then license out the rights to different parts of it to other companies. So you make a bunch of money, you have no financial risk. You have no financial risk, right? So Power Rangers, you buy up the IP, and then you start licensing out little pieces of it to all these other companies to make stuff for it. Yep. You get royalties, you get the licensing fees on top of it, and if the brand does well, guess what? When it comes time to renew, you get to charge more for that license.
Yep.
They had nothing to do with the toys other than giving a thumbs up or a thumbs down on certain toys, right? That was all Bandai.
Chris,
now with Hasbro,
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You're on a great roll, and I don't want to kill that.
With Hasbro, it's a little bit different. So they own the IP, right? And they are the toy maker on top of it. So whereas if Bandai had a bad year before, Saban Brands could just shrug and go, well, do better next year. Whereas with Hasbro, if they have a bad year, that's red lines on their profit margin. I mean, that's done. It's money gone. It's a loss, and it's a loss that hurts the company, and it has shareholders they have to answer to. Like, hey, why are you putting all this money and time and attention to a brand that's not performing when you could be spending this money on another brand that could be performing?
Yep.
And that means Power Rangers has a very, very slim margin to be able to scoot by. It can't really afford to fail, right? And they don't know what they're doing with it to help make it succeed. So it's in that really bad area on top of everything else.
Now, Chris, one thing that really kind of piqued my interest, if you will, was a lot of the layoffs, but not just the layoffs, but some of these brands moving back to Rhode Island. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So when the layoffs first started happening, right? So if you browse the internet enough, you can find information enough. So word got out that Hasbro is doing layoffs on Monday. And found that out around the time, I think it was Jason who put out a tweet, was like, angry, heartbroken, proud. Hope these people share their stories at some point and put up a Power Rangers picture, right? And that immediately signaled to me, oh crap, somebody on the Power Rangers team got axed. Oh crap, I hope it's not Melissa, because I know Jason and Melissa were close. As we later found out, unfortunately, Melissa is no longer with the brand. Looking into it more and talking to some people, I do have people I consider friends on different brands at Hasbro from doing this for 20 something years now. Basically, Hasbro took all their boys' toys brands that were based out of Burbank, out of their Burbank offices, and decided they were shifting them all back to Rhode Island. So all of boys' toys is now going to be out of Rhode Island, not half and half. So we're talking, Power Rangers was based out of Burbank. I guess the new Ghostbusters line was based out of Burbank. Zoids, which is in the middle of a comeback, is based out of Burbank. All those people laid off. Either laid off, some of them I guess moved to the girls' toys that stayed there, but for the most part, they moved the brands and they didn't move the people. So if you look at it from a Power Rangers perspective, almost everybody that you knew on the brand or that you met on the toy brand at like San Diego Comic-Con or anything like that last year is no longer with the brand.
Right.
So whoever's working on the brand now is completely new faces. And if you want any bright light out of all this, because I mean, your heart goes out to these people who got displaced, maybe didn't necessarily want to move to a different brand. Now they have to, but happy that they still have a job. But all those people that didn't get to do that, who lost their jobs, your heart goes out to them.
Absolutely.
On the same note, that would in theory mean that Power Rangers responsibilities have moved to already existing teams in Rhode Island, and the boys' toys that existed in Rhode Island were Transformers, Star Wars, Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe, some pretty strong brands with some pretty strong talent on it. So maybe that's a bright light if you're only focused on the toy side of it. I don't know, but I mean, it was a rough week, and everyone should be sad for the people that, you know, got the axe, because it's really not fair, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with that. Now let's talk a little bit about the ratings of our current show, Beast Morphers, and how that could play into a factor in this.
Well, basically, no one's watching it.
That's right.
and it could be because of the time slot. Yeah, it works great if you are on the East Coast, right? But not so much if you're anywhere else. You know, for me, it's a 6 o'clock in the morning show. My kids don't get up till after 7:30.
Sure.
I'm not getting up. I'm not going to get up before my kids. Are you kidding me? That's a busy day.
Wait, 6 o'clock?
I know about that life.
I always watch
the
it
parent,
pre-recorded, so I never know what time it's on.
Oh, yeah.
See, some of us don't have the luxury of like a TiVo or DVR or anything like that. So I either catch it live or, you know, hey, you got to find it online somewhere.
I think accessibility is a huge issue with it. I think that they need to make it easier for people to get hold of.
So you have no one watching it for a variety of reasons. Either there's no marketing for it, which is the case. We know that one for a fact. It's on super early on the West Coast. Maybe not Pacific time. I think it's still 8 a.m. out there. But for me in Mountain time, it's 6 a.m. For Central, it's 7 a.m. You know, I'm not going to wake my 4-year-old up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's a horrible idea.
That is a bad idea. Believe me, I know all about that.
Ruins the rest of your day.
And then on top of that, you have Nickelodeon's, you know, hiatus thing where they try to break a 2 seasons into 4 seasons with the hiatus.
Right.
And
right.
There's no hook. You know, you don't hook the kids long enough, because Power Rangers can't do enough in 8 episodes on the first hiatus before the next 12, you know, 8 months later. It's almost impossible to do. And it's a horrible algorithm to try to make a successful show. And yeah, I mean, you know, and it sucks because, you know, like we were saying, Beast Morphers is better than Ninja Steel. I have to agree with Corey, though. It's one of those recent isms, is what they call it, where everyone's like, yeah, Beast Morphers is so great, but it's really doing the exact same things that you hated from Ninja Steel and from Dino Supercharge and from Megaforce. It's just not as bad. And because it's so much better than Ninja Steel, where people are ranking it like it's the number 2 series of all time. It's like, whoa, calm down. Like, it's a good show, but I don't know that it's that amazing.
I agree with that. Look, it's because we've been fed so much. I don't care.
Shit.
We so much shit for a while that now we got used to tasting shit. So now we get a taste of something that's decent and like, oh, this is the best meal I've ever had. You know what I mean? So
it's that Stockholm syndrome.
I get it. I completely understand that. I want to talk very particularly about the Lightning Collection, because I know that the Lightning Collection, obviously, it's catering to the fans, and I love the Lightning Collection. But let's be 100% honest about something. It's not saving the franchise. So let's talk about the Lightning Collection for a quick second, because you have a lot of insight into the action figure side of it, and I think it's so fascinating.
So the Lightning Collection, I trying to think of the right way to word this without getting anybody in trouble. So these figures have been planned out, right? It's not like they're sitting in the office right now being like, gosh, what are we going to do for Wave 5? You know, they already know. What are we going to do for Wave 6? They already know. It's just a matter of getting retailer buy-in for it, right? So the idea behind the marketing pitch of it was always to have something nostalgic, like a Mighty Morphin figure, right? So that's why pretty much every wave has had a Mighty Morphin Ranger in the collection, right? Because that's the nostalgia hook. And then it's certain colors, right? Every wave's got to have a red. And then trying to put cool characters in, so to speak. And also trying to capture Beast Morphers. Now, you can go to your local Target store, because, I mean, my Walmart never seems to get the Lightning Collection, but you go to Target, and it's pretty much Ravi's chilling on the shelf like crazy.
It is. I mean, it really is.
Probably like 2 cases worth. So, I mean, that should also signify, like, hey, not only is, you know, not only are the kids not buying the Beast Morpher toys, but they're also not buying the Lightning Collection figure Beast Morphers, and neither are collectors, apparently. So that is a little concerning. I think overall it tends to be pretty successful because these figures, for the most part, are pretty cheap to produce. Again, for the most part, because it's pretty much the same body on every single figure, right? Like it's not a brand new toy you're getting. You're getting a toy with a new shoulder pads or a new helmet or new head sculpt. But everything else is pretty much recycled, so it can't be that expensive to produce. There were some issues with the tariffs that were going to cause the prices to go up, and that went away. Now they're back down to $19.99. I will say this: if Toy Fair doesn't give us, because remember they branched out. They did the Lightning Collection White Ranger helmet, which mixed reviews. Some people got 2 different color White Ranger pieces on their helmet. I don't know. I got a pure white one. But if you don't see an expansion of the Lightning Collection line at Toy Fair, if they don't show off a Morpher, if they don't show off a Megazord, if they don't show off anything like that after, all of last year saying, we got a lot of things planned, stay tuned. The cliche, we can't tell you anything answer, good or bad. If you don't see anything growing from that at Toy Fair, I would probably be a little concerned. Because again, it shows a lack of growth, right? So they're not expanding the brand. If they're not expanding that collection, that assortment, then it's usually because that assortment isn't doing what they want it to do. If we don't have any store exclusives coming up, I'd be a little concerned. Just because we had so many in the first year, getting 0 in the second year doesn't indicate to me a strength. It indicates to me a weakness.
Now, let's talk. I'm going to talk about the trickle-down effect a little bit of how all this affects everything else. Now, we got a ton of announcements this week about people that are going to be guests at Comic-Con, at Power Morphicon this year. Usually at Power Morphicon, we are introduced to the new season. How does this change Power Morphicon and the presentation of what the show is and that main panel? And Corey, anybody can take this. Corey, Jezer, Chris.
That's pretty much been my reason to go to Power Morphicon is for that Ranger announcement, because that's regardless of what the show becomes in the future, I'm always hyped just to see the new cast. And Morphicon, if they don't have that, it's just why go? You can go to any convention and see these people.
But also see,
not true. A lot of other conventions have stopped booking a lot of Power Rangers.
Really? That's actually true. So, and I've been talking to a lot of Rangers about this. Is that a lot of conventions are only booking the original Rangers.
They're only doing the OG route. Right?
And that could be a whole nother issue with the management side and who's being phased out. Regardless, most conventions now are only booking the OG Rangers.
Which for from the convention side makes a little bit more sense. It's more nostalgia fans will recognize it, because majority amount of fans that, not Power Ranger fans in general, but Comic-Con or con goers, they haven't kept up with Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's true.
So the convention has only allotted so much money to pay for certain guests. They're not gonna put money into bring in the
Fury Blue.
the Sixth Ranger from over.
Sure, but you know what? We know what we're going to do here at the Illuminerdi. We are actually going to start throwing Power Ranger events that are going to be catered towards Power Ranger fans, with Power Ranger guests. That way, you can meet your favorite Ranger at some of these events. First one is going to be February 9th, right here at the Comic Book Manhattan Beach, where we are going to be joined by Christopher Kamen Lee and Roger Valesco, talking about the first episodes, or the couple of first episodes, the premiere of Power Rangers in Space. If you're here live, they're going to be doing an exclusive watch-along with them, but the Retro Ranger wrap-up will return then. Now, the reason I ask is, Toku Chris, with Morphicon on the horizon this September, and if there's not a new cast announcement and the show's getting canceled, what do you think, and this is pure speculation on everybody's part here, what do you think we can see instead of that main panel? Is it going to be a farewell panel? Or what do you think we'd see at that point?
A Forever Red panel.
Again?
Well, here's a question to answer your question, so to speak. So I'm not as entwined with the convention circuit as a lot of people are. To get the cast out there, do the cast reveal, and that was pretty much Saban's only participation was that.
Right.
With Hasbro, you have to remember Hasbro killed all their conventions that they were working with. They killed BotCon, which is the Transformers convention. They killed JoeCon, which is the G.I. Joe convention. all in favor to do HasCon, which then they put on hiatus when they were trying to leverage whether or not they wanted to stay in Rhode Island to get better tax breaks, which we've never gotten an update. They were supposed to update in September, never gave an update. I just checked that the other day, actually. So my question is Hasbro even willing to work with Scott and with PMC to make that kind of stuff continue to happen? Or with all these layoffs that just went through, is that even something that's even on the table? And I know that's a question more for Scott, and that's not something that anyone should expect an answer to, because, you know, if Power Morphicon came out tomorrow and it's like, yeah, sorry guys, we're not going to do a cast reveal, we're not going to have an exclusive toy, but come on down to the show, you know, how many of you are going to race out there to buy that VIP platinum, you know, badge, Platinum Ranger pass? You're probably not,
true.
right?
That's true.
Yeah.
So we won't know these answers until closer to the convention. I mean, well, obviously, if Power Rangers is going to continue in 2021, we'll find out relatively in the next few months. But yeah, I mean, that's just my question, is we don't even know that there's even a cooperation right there. If there is a new season, if there's a cooperation there. So I don't know. I don't know what to think. If they cancel it, if Power Rangers ends off TV, and Scott's been very public about every year, every 2 years, it's kind of like, this might be the last one. I don't know. This might be the last one. I don't know. I would suspect that he might kill it.
I don't disagree with that.
It would be a farewell.
So our Twitter poll this week was a little bit different because we wanted to remember the late, great Kobe Bryant. I know Jezzer's a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Our Twitter poll is a little bit different this week in remembrance of Kobe Bryant. Today, the Ranger wrap-up. In honor of the great Kobe Bryant, who is your favorite yellow and purple Rangers? So you can use the hashtag Ranger wrap-up. But let's start with Corey. Who was your favorite yellow and purple Ranger?
Favorite yellow Ranger, Trini, of course.
Got it.
Favorite purple, Jungle Fury Wolf Ranger.
All right.
I mean, is that
RJ.
Is that our only
RJ.
choice right now? right now? Yellow Ranger. That's a tough one. I want to say Trini too, because she is like top. But Yellow Ranger, maybe Allison from Wild Force, because she was the first kind of technically Yellow Ranger leader, as far as before Cole came in. Yeah. I liked her character. She was very scary.
You got a purple?
I mean, there's only one Purple Ranger. And
No, there's a few.
There's two.
There's two of them are the
Oh wait!
same
Oh no!
Ranger.
From Dino Charge.
Yeah. There's the male and the female version of
Yeah.
that same Ranger. Yeah.
Dr.
Kendall.
Kendall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Toku Chris, you got a favorite yellow and purple Ranger?
I do. On the purple side, I'm gonna be that guy that goes on the villain side. I'm gonna say Korag.
Oh, I forgot.
Liembo.
We're gonna go with Lienbo's dark side, or Nick's dark side for 8 minutes in an episode. As far as yellow, I'm gonna go with the character portrayed by Emma Hanna in Dino Thunder, because I'm not gonna call her by her character name so she doesn't blow up, in the future.
I am gonna go with my yellow Ranger, very similar along your lines. I'm gonna go Sarah Hannah actually, Gia for my yellow Ranger. And my purple Ranger, I'm also going to go with Kendall. I think she'd be my purple Ranger. So you can use Twitter and let us know who you guys thought was your favorite yellow and purple Ranger in remembrance of Kobe Bryant. We already have a few of you guys that have chimed in. We got Kelsey and RJ. That's from Eric Berry, our good buddy Eric Berry at Range Command Power Hour. We got Tone Robinson says Kendall and Tanya. There you go. That's a good one. We also got Nathan who said RJ and Taylor. So all great choices. Kobe Bryant was amazing, did a lot for the community here in Los Angeles, and was one of the best basketball players, one of the best athletes ever to play any sport, to be honest with you. So guys, I don't want to wrap up just quite yet, because one final question I want to get from you guys that are watching at home, but also all of you guys and Toku Chris as well. I don't know why I pointed to the sky like you're in the sky, but you're not.
There.
But
he's right here.
Right? But Corey, you gave your opinion on whether or not you think the show is going to get canceled. You're on the fence. You're not quite sure.
Yeah.
But based on all the facts now, or based on what we all kind of presented, what do you think?
I'm just looking at how Hasbro treats Transformers, because Transformers was like one of Hasbro's first babies, and back in the day there wasn't always a Transformers cartoon. You know, Transformers was kind of dead after Beast Wars, and then you know the Cybertron trilogy came around.
I love that series.
Yeah, that was gross. I can't stand that shit.
Oh no, there was one where Ultra Magnus and Optimus combined together.
Oh, that was car robots.
Was
Robots in Disguise.
Robots in Disguise.
Yeah, that was kind of like some weird buffer after the Beast Wars, I think. I think
Yeah.
that was before the Cybertron
Yeah.
trilogy. And then the movie came out, and then Transformers been on TV ever since. But the season is there, and then it's gone for a little bit.
I see it more on Netflix than I see it anywhere
Yeah,
else.
I mean Transformers is around, but it's not always on TV.
Yeah,
because when
yeah.
the series is done, it's done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, is Transformers still coming on TV? Like, what is going on? So that's how I feel Power Rangers may be. Like, you know, if
You
it's
say
a good
it
time,
might be gone now, but not forever.
yeah, and it'll come around and then it'll disappear. It's not gonna be like in Japan how Super Sentai is always around every year, 40+ years. I mean, it'll pop up and then they'll disappear, and they'll pop up and disappear. You know.
Jezzer, what do you think?
I think that it's going to evolve into something else. I think that the format that we have now might be ending, but I think it's going to evolve into something that's going to take its place. I don't know what, but something less, something that Hasbro is going to feel like they have to put less energy into, but still provide some form of
something more consistent.
something for them. Like, if anything, the thing that they provide might be even more. You can access it better, or like you can see it easily.
Yeah, not like a Netflix series or something.
No,
like that.
yeah, it's something's coming. I think that the format that they have may be coming to an end soon.
I personally think, honestly, in my heart of hearts, I think the show's going to get canceled. And here's the reason why. It just makes dollars and cents. It's very hard to justify a show that nobody's watching and people not buying the toys.
Yep.
And to continue on with the franchise. And especially with the company just massively, not just Power Rangers, but all worldwide, is going through layoffs. I don't really see them wanting to sink more money into another show, especially with the news that Toku Chris had just said, that the New Zealand production office is also closed. All these things are kind of leading up, and I can see the show closing down. Toku Chris, what are your thoughts on this?
Joey, you once told me that I have a lot of string theory going on, and I'm going to kind of explain that. So I think, in my heart of hearts, I think the show is going to change. Whether it's canceled or how it's delivered to us is going to change. But I think the bigger change is going to be looking at how Hasbro is treating one of their other babies, and that's G.I. Joe.
Right.
Their original baby, the first toy product they ever had. So and it hasn't been announced yet. It's going to be announced at Toy Fair. It's already been leaked, though, that they've given a significant portion of the toy license of G.I. Joe to Jazzwares. They're doing like those Fortnite figures, right? Those 4-inch Fortnite figures. Oh, there you go. I think what you're going to see is Hasbro maybe hanging on to a couple pieces of the toy rights, right? You know, maybe the Zords, you know, because, hey, Transformers, Megazords, hey, you know, that's match made in heaven, right? And maybe keep the 6-inch figures, but I could see them turning around and licensing out toys for the show or for whatever kind of entertainment they're going to put out to other company. And this is where my string theory gets crazy. What company is out there that would make the most sense to make Power Ranger toys?
Bandai.
What company? What exactly? Because Hasbro, when they make a new toy and they have to base it on a Bandai Japan toy, but it can't be the same toy because that would be illegal. Bandai Namco, because it's not Bandai American, it's Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco doesn't have to worry about suing itself to make a toy very similar to its Japanese counterpart. Plus, Bandai has shown very good success with doing Power Rangers in the past. I would not be surprised at all if somehow the toy license ends up back with Bandai for like mainline toys. I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Wow, how fascinating would that be?
That's strange. It's like they just took it and then gave it back.
Like if we were superheroes, Toku Chris, you would definitely be the question. If this was Justice League Unlimited, you'd be the question with all the string theory that's going on. Now, let me ask another question, and then we're going to wrap out. We'll take a few of you guys' calls. We'll wrap out. The question here is, what can actually save the franchise?
I think the franchise needs to be more consistent because, like, America, they're not like other countries. How if you change it, this cool. Listen, there's a Japanese show called Tricked, and they remade that show I think 3 different times with the same actors, but the story it's changed. So I mean, people are okay with change out there, but like America, we want the same shit all the fucking time. So I see them relying more back on Mighty Morphin and doing something with that.
I see this happening. We're gonna get that Go treatment, We're getting Mighty.
I'm not saying what can happen. I'm just saying, what do you think could save it?
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Something more
Mighty
recognizable.
MMPR Go series, where it's an animated series like they do with Teen Titans, and they do with Powerpuff Girls and He-Man and Thundercats. They're gonna do like a dumbed down version of it to appeal to the younger generation, I think.
What about you, Toku Chris?
I think to be able to save the brand, you first have to identify what's wrong with the brand. Because if you keep repeating the same mistakes, you're not going to get anywhere. I've always thought that the biggest issue that the brand has was, one, with the show, in the sense that it's writing down to its audience. It's not expecting its audience to grow with the show. You're pandering, exactly, Jesse. You're writing down to the audience. My example is Ninja Steel, when they had a math quiz and it was like really, really basic math for high schoolers. That was a red flag to me. Like, wow, okay, you're writing these people to cater to literally a 5-year-old. And when you do that, if it's not interesting to the 5-year-olds, they're not going to watch it, and you're going to lose the older audience that watches this stuff. Because let's face it, right? How many people watch anime? How many people watch Steven Universe and all that stuff? There's a lot of adults and teenagers that watch that stuff.
Yep.
Power Rangers is a perfect candidate for people to watch that. But if you're going to write horribly and write stupid, you're not going to get an audience. So I think that's one issue. And 2, I think Power Rangers and Hasbro needs to figure out what is your demographic. I don't think they even realize what their demographic is yet. And how they do that, I don't know. And I'm fearful that they're going to try to go the same route Transformers did, which was, let's make a movie, see if it succeeds, and if the movie's great, then everything will be based on the movie going forward.
Yep.
And that's what I'm fearful of, because we've seen it happen before. I guess, look at the recent years and when was Power Rangers the most hype? It was during Shattered Grid, right? That's when comics were selling, 30, 40,000 issues, which Power Rangers is huge. For Boom Studios, it was huge. It was their their best-selling comic of all time. I mean, so obviously there's an audience for that, and I don't think Hasbro sees it, or they refuse to see it, and I think the issue is just getting them to realize, I guess, what their demographic is, and then also writing engaging stories, and whatever form of entertainment they want to go with, but making it something that people of all ages can sit down and watch and not shudder and cringe and want to turn off the TV. Yeah. And maybe the biggest issue is just getting the right people in charge of that stuff and get them out of their mindset of what they think Power Rangers is and start thinking about what Power Rangers can be.
Yep.
I agree. I think the one thing that saves the franchise is me.
Shut
the Savior Power Rangers. The Savior Ranger. Yeah. You can call me the Savior Ranger.
I can't fucking breathe in this room.
I think what really needs to happen is, I think it's accessibility. I think that Power Rangers is so hard to find as a show that if you don't watch it live, or if you don't have, like you said, Toku Chris, if you don't have a DVR, it is very hard to find. Accessibility. I don't understand why the show is actually airing in the way it is, because Power Rangers really should be a summer show, and here's the reason why. Kids aren't in school. You can air it whenever, or the morning, afternoon. Kids aren't in school. They can watch it. I don't necessarily know why that's not happening now. Also, I don't know why it's not streaming. Like, it should be. If they made a deal with Netflix, I think it'd be a little bit better off as well. Because
Joe, can I piggyback on you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I? Yeah,
go for it.
So, this is a couple years ago. I was talking to Gregory Mitchell. Remember Greg used to work on Bandai for Power Rangers?
Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Hasbro got the brand and they started releasing toys, I had a brief chat with him about his thoughts on everything, and he made a really good point. And he said, "Hey, do you know why we always launch a new toy line at Thanksgiving, or why we always did? We'd launch a new toy line, and then we would have new toys all throughout the year, and then things would slow down. The line would end, in September, before the holidays, and we'd have one item for the holiday, and that's it. Do you know why?" I said, "No," and he goes, "Because we knew we couldn't compete with all the big name toy companies, the Hasbros, the Mattels, the McFarlanes, who were putting out their big, expensive, you gotta have it, toy at Christmas. They knew they couldn't compete with that, but they also knew that those toy companies weren't putting out crap throughout the year because their mindset is it's summertime, all the kids are outside playing. So that's when Bandai would be like, boom, here's our exclusive, it's coming out this summer, boom, all this stuff. That's why they did it. When did you see all the stuff come out for Hasbro for Beast Morphers? When did you see the Zords come out? They came out in August and September, right before Christmas. When did you see, all these new waves come out? April, July, November, December. Hasbro's following their formula of, hey, this is when we release new toys, and Bandai was doing it differently, which is why Bandai was always doing so well, because they were the only toy company with new toys out.
There you go.
Basically shooting herself in the foot.
Yep.
There you go. Me and Toku Chris, we are putting in our bid to now take over the positions of Melissa Flores and Jason Bischoff. I'm just kidding. But no, honestly, we as fans, I don't want something to go overlooked. And the one thing is that a lot of people lost their jobs. That's number one. But number two, the other thing I don't want to go overlooked is that let's not use tunnel vision here. And again, this episode, Toku, Chris, myself, Jezer, Corey, we're not saying the show's getting canceled. What we are saying is we're speculating, and Toku, Chris, and I will tell you fully, we are still doing more research into everything that's going on, and we're not going to present, and we're not going to tell you guys, confirm something that's not confirmed yet. This is an episode to let you guys know kind of where we think the franchise, well, definitely where the franchise is headed, but we don't want you guys to have blinders on either. Listen, at the end of the day, they don't have to continue making Power Rangers if they don't want to make Power Rangers. It's that simple. It's not something that we should take as a luxury. Toku, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We should make this more of like a weekly thing. Are you good with that?
Well, yeah, we'll see what's going on. If the kids aren't in bed, I'm good to.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And we'll be talking on Twitter.
Hey,
by the way, before you go,
thanks for having me.
Before you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and the website.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter at Toku Chris. I got two websites. Power Rangers site that's without the vowels, PWRRNGR.com, and then the social is just that plus site at the end. And then also Toku Nation. And if you're a Kamen Rider fan, probably want to stay tuned over the next couple of weeks because there's a lot of big stuff coming out for that. But Joe, Jezer, Corey, man, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
It's fun. I haven't been able to talk. It's been typing for the last 3 weeks, so it's been nice to be able to actually voice and say it out loud, so to speak. So thanks, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, we get you on time to time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Now, with our fan base here, what we want to talk to you guys. Let's hear it for Let's hear it.
Why are you laughing, Corey?
Jezer got this new thing, and he loves this sucker. All right, I want to talk to the fans a little bit, all you guys that are chiming in. We want to take your calls and hear what you have to say, too. But before we get into that, I'm going to read your comments from last week. This is like, sometimes I feel more so for Jezer than me. It could be like mean tweets, because sometimes they're negative towards you. But this time, most of you guys are positive. So Boston Blur, John Gatewood, one of our newest writers, says, so far, so good. I've been visiting the site at least once a day now, so I'm behind you guys 100%.
Not yet.
Not yet.
He's on hold.
You want to read that one, buddy?
Which one?
All right, either one of you guys. This
That's
J2
a really
Lewis.
long one.
Go ahead and read that
Oh,
one.
Jesus Christ.
Here we
It's
go.
actually for Jezzer.
Go read it.
Oh, yeah, I got your name in it. You should read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you should read it. Actually, I just read the first part, so you should read it.
It says, fan of the show, but Jezzer doesn't know what he's talking about in regards to Battle for the Grid. Here we go again.
Yes.
Here we go
I
again.
love this.
Game has been growing in the tournament scene and is nothing like mobile game outside of some visual assets. The game invokes, I think that's Marvel vs. Capcom series more than anything, and highly recommend watching footage of the tournaments before saying all that. When it comes to DLC characters, it's nothing new in terms of fighting games. If you haven't played since launch, you should try it, as the game has vastly improved since its launch.
It's
Okay.
a cool game, man.
Jezzer, you want to respond?
No. I'm sticking with my statement. You've had all these characters in the mobile game, all these characters that they've been releasing when they had the mobile game. It's the same models, and you're siphoning them, like you're slowly introducing it into the series.
That's the hook, man. That's how games are now.
Well, that's why I don't play EA games anymore. So fuck you guys.
Let's talk about let's get some phone calls going.
Oh, we got Lucius. Lucius is on the line. There you go. Now you're not.
Lucius Fox?
What do you got? Did you say hello there?
I hear him over there, but not through my head.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you still there?
So I do have one question before I go on. Joe, are you ready for the 49ers to win tomorrow?
Joe is ready for the 49ers. That's like a...
Come on.
That's
Yeah,
like,
of course. Of course I'm excited for the 49ers. I don't want to count. I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and say, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. It's going to be a great game, but I want the 49ers to win. I'm not going to talk about
Whoever
sports.
wins by the end of the day, it's going to be a great game.
Yes. But I don't want to. I mean, I had this debate all week long. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, but he's never been against a defense like the San Francisco 49ers.
boom, boom.
However, they were able to stop Derrick Henry, who I think is one of the best running backs in the NFL. But again, the defense on the 49ers is going to be lights out. And that's what wins the game.
Oh, shit.
Is that what you got?
Okay, so what question do you have for
What?
What's
Break
that?
it up.
What question do you got for me?
What do you mean?
Oh, I don't have a question for you. The question I had, I don't have a question for you.
Oh, okay. All right. What I think about Power Rangers should go on for the future is that Hasbro needs to put commercials to get kids catering to get kids into the show. Like have it for what Chris said on the summer.
Yeah,
I'm out of school. The reason I got into Power Rangers was Samurai because it was on a Monday, I think. I have no idea. I need to look it up on a wiki.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That was the reason why I was in Power Rangers.
All right.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you so much for calling.
Lucius, I agree with you. I think that being in that summer slot is a great factor. The advertising is a little bit different because it's really Nickelodeon's station, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, something back when I was a kid, Power Rangers used to come on a weekday too.
Yeah.
Was it? Monday
Yeah, it
through
was
Friday?
but it was after school.
Yeah,
it was,
but
like,
was
like
a
an after school
I can't
thing.
remember. Was it?
It was
like
Monday
a new
through Friday.
episode
So
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Saturday, actually. So what it used to do is that it used to go Monday through Saturday, but the Monday through Friday time slot was usually around 4:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. And then if you didn't catch it, then there's always a Saturday show, but that would be in the morning of the Saturday lineup cartoons.
Yeah.
I mean, if I remember correctly, it used to come on, at least in LA, in our LA market, we used to get X-Men, The Tick, and then Power Rangers. Am I right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I remember there was a stint where we had the O.J. Simpson trials.
I know.
I was so mad. I was like, "Where's my Power Rangers?"
Man, you really aged the three of us. I mean,
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so we got another phone call yet. Thomas Franco. Thomas Franco. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
What's up?
What's up?
Hey,
What up?
how you doing, buddy? You called us.
Oh, I'm good. Good.
Great. What's up? What's your comment?
Well, I have something to say what they should do with the franchise, with the video games.
with the DLCs and shit, and not keep it like how with the Dragon Ball Z front, you know.
That could work, but it really all depends on what Hasbro wants the brand to be. You get what I mean? If they want it to be a video game focused brand, then yeah. But if their main thing is the TV show, then they should focus on evolving the TV show.
I think videos fall in line after they got the main thing set up. I think that it's an afterthought. It's not for at least for a franchise like this, it's not going to be the thing that drives it forward.
Yes.
Yeah, it's versus like something like Fortnite, where Fortnite is making tons of money on merchandise based off their game. Like, and they make
but the game is still the
game is the primary.
Yeah.
But with this, the show is the primary. So or the show or the IP is the primary. So it's not. I think video games are going to fall in line with that. So the more successful the show is, the more different varieties of games you're going to get. And I think.
To all of a sudden have that switch and then Power Rangers is a video game thing, that's people are gonna be like, what?
Yeah, there's like, what just happened?
You got anybody else?
Who else called? Let me see. That was Lucius, and then we had Thomas Franco, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do before we sign out. We got a few more of you guys on Twitter in respect to Kobe Bryant. We asked, what was your favorite yellow and purple Rangers? DDT Cosplay said Trini and RJ, which has been a popular combo from you guys. And we also have Hyper Ryan. He says RJ and Summer from RPM.
Oh, Summer. Yeah,
great choices. Those are great choices. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Toku Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show and really opening it up, what this could be. Later tonight, it's possible that we might be doing a Twitch stream, right, Josh? It's possible. So join us over on Twitch. If you're not following us, follow us. You'll get the alert that we're going live. But also, you can follow us right here at the Illuminerdi. Hit that little bell to let you know when we're going to go live. There's a lot more content that's going to be coming out here.
And if you have more Power Ranger fans or just nerd fans, be sure to have them subscribe to us, because we're going to be hitting you with a bunch of cool new content, different from our last show, but fun content that I think you guys will enjoy.
A lot of fun. So, Corey, where can everybody find you on the social media?
YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, C. Gibson Rex.
Jezzer?
Everything at Jezzer Zeus.
You can find me at Joe Luminerdi. That's right, guys. I changed it.
He changed his name.
Joe Luminerdi.
Joe Luminerdi. At least it's better than Illuma Shady.
But you can find me there. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, hit that bell to get notified when we're going live. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. We hope you enjoy the Ranger Wrap-Up.